then if you want to, maybe let's not share your screen yet. Let's just do me and you first. And I think I should be live right now. I'm just going to check. So I have my Discord open and then Twitch open so people can feel free. And I see some people typing in Discord. I'm just going to make sure they see me up on Twitch too.
Sweet.
Okay, sweet. So I see them saying, "Hey, Steve." Awesome.
Okay. Nice.
Cool. I think we are successfully live. Awesome. Okay, everyone, thank you for joining in. First of all, a huge shout out to Boombox Head because without him, I would have not been able to figure out streaming. So he helped tremendously. Right now, I'm using a little bit of a workaround, so I'll probably be looking at my screen on the right just to see any comments that come in. And then on the screen in front of you, obviously you have myself and Steve, and we'll be doing a little bit of screen sharing in the chat. But yeah, thank you. This is the first Behind the Art, and I'm super happy and honored to have you on, Steve. And a soft introduction, but I'll let you give yourself one as well. Steve and I met a little bit over a year ago at a conference, and he was just like awesome energy, so passionate about the space, doing such amazing things. And we've continued to connect over the past year. And he does amazing things for freeross.org. He has an awesome company in the NFT space called Digitables, at which he also does a lot of advocacy for Free Ross. And overall, he is a huge NFT and crypto art collector. So yeah, and I'll let you, if you'd like to add anything to that. That was kind of a short intro.
Nice. Yes, thank you, Josie. I am. Yeah, this is awesome to be your first guest. I would have never thought because yes, I think we met at Consensus 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I was blown away the second that I saw your art. We told me about the AR and NFT aspect of it that even enticed me that much more. But yes, I definitely see myself as kind of one of the people bigger in the space who's kind of not only in the metaverses, but does collect crypto art, both physical and digital. So yeah, you're one of the rare artists that I do collect that actually has both of those. Because some artists focus on one or the other, but I like how you have it split. It's for someone like me, I appreciate that very much. As far as the NFT space and everything else, I think you're dead center of it yourself. I'm very,
Thank you. That's very nice of you.
happy to see your skill set. I think you have some very, very bright years ahead of you. So I know, hats off to you, Josie.
Thank you. That's very nice of you.
Totally.
No, this is awesome. I think, like, with what you said, it's actually kind of interesting. And we can start there. We can just start in general about the crypto art scene, what you've seen. I had some questions come in, which were really great. And I wrote down all of the questions so we could go through those. But in general, do you want to talk about how you, we can go to the way background before this, but do you want to talk about how you just found crypto art and how you got interested in it? Because I remember you saying to me that you didn't collect art before this, that this was kind of your like entrance into collecting art. So will you just tell us about how you got started doing this with crypto art?
100%. Yeah, and I always had an appreciation for art. I was really never an enthusiast or a collector. If I was at a gallery in New York or San Fran, I definitely would appreciate things, take pictures and be like, wow, that's that is beautiful, but it's just something I never really obtained. And honestly, literally, you pretty much were the one who opened my eyes to that. But
No way.
being in the crypto space since about 2013, 2015 pretty heavily, and then 17 pretty much all in. I just had an appreciation for ETH Waterloo in 2017. I was there when CryptoKitties won.
Mm-hmm.
At first, I thought, that's a strange thing to win the hackathon here at Waterloo, and there were so many talented teams. And the more I looked into the NFTs, I realized there was so much bigger and kind of, I know it was kind of a huge entry point into not only gaming, but as far as crypto itself. So I saw it as almost the second wave of crypto. I know a lot of people thought STOs or IEOs or all that was kind of going to be the second wave. That didn't really pan out to do much,
Yep.
essentially, in a lot of cases. But NFTs, you can see now, are not only in the art scene, but especially with gaming, with just all different collector's items. I've been on eBay for probably 23 years. Seen a lot of fakes go by, seen a lot of people get ripped off. So for, and that's on a very small scale for Sotheby's and the auction houses and everything else, in the art world, stamp world, altcoin world, and everything else. There definitely needs to be a blockchain for this, one-of-ones, NFTs that are attached to this. So with your art especially, I was actually blown away that when I bought your physical piece, that I got these NFTs after the fact that are just as valuable, and in some cases I appreciate more than
Yeah.
your physical pieces. So that was just a huge bonus at that time. I'm happy you went that route. Now that's the norm for you and a lot of other artists, which is good to see, because I think that's important. And there's two different communities growing at the same time, both digital and physical, which is very important because a lot of people aren't ready to dive into the digital aspect of it yet.
It's interesting you say that because I definitely think that is very true in the way that you're separating digital and physical, because often it's not only separate for artists. Like you said, there aren't a ton of artists in our space that do both digital and physical. Not only that, it's very separated for collectors. It's rare that I have, well, I wouldn't say rare, but it's definitely more often that the collector either collects digital or they collect physical. And when they cross over, it's really interesting. I'm just gonna make sure that we're still. Sorry, I'm like self-conscious that we're not streaming.
By all means, go ahead.
I just put on my Discord, "Hey, we live?" I think so because I see some people, but it's really interesting because, and I can hear us getting subscribers in the background, but since I don't have my screen up, I'm sorry I can't see who you are, but thank you for all of those awesome subscribers coming in. Okay, sweet, they can hear us. So I think it's interesting because, like I said, the collectors don't often go into both realms of collecting both the physical and the digital. And I've seen what's really interesting and what I am excited about. I have seen my physical collectors start to get really interested in the digital and the NFTs because they see me tweet about it. I actually got a ton of DMs after one of my tweets saying like, oh, someone just got a, 800% return on their second, on the secondary sale.
Yes.
And I had a ton of my physical collectors DMing me saying, what is this? And a lot of it is actually, as you know, I do a lot of Bitcoin art, and a lot of Bitcoin folks, have kind of just passed NFTs by and they don't want to give it a chance. And now I'm starting to see a lot more of just open mindedness in that area, and Bitcoiners saying, how can we get this on Bitcoin? Let's take, what the Ethereum community is doing and try to make it work for us, because they're seeing how successful crypto art is. So I think that's interesting that you brought that up because I totally feel the same way. It's kind of like it's weird to see it start combining, but I'm excited about that because that's when I think like the real innovation, it's already here, but it really starts to get, fired up.
It's funny you say that though, about, because honestly, I was looking at Bit Crystals and Rare Pepe in say 2016 with Counterparty, with BTC, and that kind of never transpired into much in that scene. And then when ETH launched in 2017, when CryptoKitties won and the ICO boom happened, and even though gas costs went through the roof, it was still, it was on fire, the whole NFTs kind of scene back then, because kitties fueled that. And I know it's really unfortunate that that never did transpire, but I'm surprised that Maximus, for the BTC community, don't see the value in that, because at one point they did with Counterparty as a sidechain.
Right.
Yeah, I know I'm very happy with the ETH community and going to a lot of conferences that that both of us see each other often there, in that community. Going to a Bitcoin conference, as one aspect of the community. Going to an Ethereum conference, I see a lot more building, collaboration, things transpiring, a lot of cross promotions. It's a very open community, and at the hackathons, a lot of people have their head down for 2 days coding, and getting things done, and like a beautiful adapt is released that at the close, which
Yeah.
things like that don't happen typically at conferences. And I don't know, the Ethereum community is not only very strong, it's very passionate, and it's huge.
Totally. No, I completely agree with you there. And I will say, though, I'm in a couple chats with some amazing people in the Bitcoin community, and they are getting really excited about kind of revamping and rethinking about how NFTs can work on Bitcoin and, just testing all of these different things. And I'll definitely be bringing some people on the show about that. And I'll probably talk about it a little bit with Brecky as well. But
Nice.
there is kind of that conversation happening. I'm sure it's been happening for a long time, but me personally, I've been starting to be a part of those chats and what I really enjoy about the space on ETH. And I think that that is super important, you know, for Bitcoiners to kind of be like, okay, they're doing something, they're in and recognize it and make it work for Bitcoin. I think that's awesome. I think it
Yeah,
should totally. I mean, I would love to have NFTs connected to a Bitcoin, transaction and
as
make it
would
all
I
smooth.
completely.
So yeah, and interestingly enough, I think we've both talked about this. We transact in Ethereum all the time, but
Yep.
a large part of our both, at least for myself, I'll speak for myself. A large part of my investment is in Bitcoin,
Hmm.
but Ethereum is what I use all the time. So it's an interesting collision, definitely. Do you want to tell us about how you in general got into the crypto space? I know we had a question come in about that. Kind of what introduced you?
Actually, I was funny enough. I was working in the payments industry, um, and I stumbled upon it in about 2012. I kind of read about it twice and thought this is cool, but I don't really get it yet. And I had no idea where to remotely buy any. So I kind of passed it off for about 6 months. Read about it again the more I saw about it, and then from there I tried buying some on Second Life using Linden. So I was trying workarounds because I couldn't find any. That kind of I botched that, and then I found someone on eBay who was in Canada and kind of not too far from me, and he made me buy something, mail me a code, and once I got that code, like 2 weeks later, I texted or I emailed him the code so he knew it was me, and then from there, every Friday he would sell me zero point zero 0.03 BTC,
That's
but in time.
crazy.
So that's kind of how I started getting it. And it was funny because I was buying digital bitcoins, like either funded or non-funded. Some of them
Mm-hmm.
were collectors and loaded, and some weren't. But I was buying those before I ever owned any Bitcoin. So after a while, I was like, I had these coins, but I actually want some coins in a digital wallet. So that's when I started looking on Second Life, and then after that, I did the eBay kind of aspect of it, and then from there, I talked to Ethan Bachman, who's now the CTO of Cosmos, and he let me know about Ethereum. He's like, this Ethereum thing's coming up. You should check it out. And I did, and I thanked him in 2017 when I signed on for that. But yeah, from there, I just kind of spun into things, and I don't know. It just turned into. I just saw the value in it. I worked at the bank for a number of years as well.
I didn't
Saw
know
that as
that.
yeah, as far as and again, I just saw all the things that were wrong with the current financial system, especially being on like talking to customers face to face, for e-com setups for VARs and everything else in that space. I'm talking to them. It was nothing but they had pain points at every turn, at every transaction for fees, for support, for technology, and I saw it. No one was doing anything about it. If anything, they were continuing on the same path because it drove profits, and it was something that I just thought it was a very toxic environment. So I left in 2017, dove pretty much headfirst into crypto. I've never made a better decision in my life other than maybe buying it in the first place.
Yeah.
But other than that, and then being at ETH Waterloo when NFTs were born, that pretty much fueled that fire for NFTs, and here I am now.
That's so interesting. I didn't know you had that background working in a bank because I don't know if you know, but I studied finance in school
Yes.
and I was working in private wealth management right after
When I first
graduation.
met you and you told me that too, I was like, "You've got to be kidding me!
Oh,
I've never pegged you
I
for
don't
that."
remember telling you that. Yeah, and that also for me, I that for me that kind of being introduced to crypto after that and knowing what I knew from working there. And I worked for amazing clients, but
Yes.
at the same time, it was crazy. We were managing their portfolios and had all of this knowledge and licenses to manage their portfolio, buy stocks and bonds for them, all these things. But technically, me myself, I couldn't invest in half of those things because I wasn't an accredited investor. So
Yes.
when I found crypto, I thought, like, this is my way to get into a system that I can, start earning while I sleep. Like all of these really successful, amazing, high net worth clients that I was working for, this was kind of like, oh, this could be my break. And I was super lucky I took it as well. And this space has just been the best thing ever. And it kind of, it's really exciting because it gives you so much more than a job or like an investment. It kind of gives you like life values, if that makes sense. Like you start thinking
I know
about
you
all
mean.
of these other things, privacy, transparency. You start thinking about all these other things that you didn't necessarily, for at least for me, I didn't know that they were that important. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
And
Um,
I like that your work now shows that you definitely have opened your eyes to seeing what's going on. And I know the political speech that's embedded in your work is one of my favorite parts of it.
Thanks. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Thank you. Um, okay, sweet. And I'm gonna let's keep chatting, and I'm gonna pull up some. I'm gonna pull the Twitch stream up to see if I can see any questions also coming through. But can you? Let's start talking about how you. Let's start talking about digitables and what you guys do, and tell everyone a little bit about that. Because after that, I kind of want you to show off some of your DCL stuff.
Sure, by all means. So yeah, so Digital was a brainchild born from Logan Golima, who's based in Cayman. He's one of the co-founders, as well as myself and Jason Cassidy. So the three of us all being NFTs. Jason kind of stirred my enthusiasm for metaverses, specifically DCL at first, and then kind of voxels, and then Somium space, and then kind of blew up from there. But seeing all of that, seeing the value in art, kind of where NFTs were going with CryptoKitty on that, and other things coming into play after the fact, seeing nonfungible.com being created as the coin market cap for the
Mm-hmm.
industry, just seeing kind of the ecosystem taking shape and forming. It was just like earlier days of crypto when there was barely any wallets, there was a couple of exchanges, there was like one price ticker.
Yeah.
So seeing the same thing over and being like, wow, like, this is really early. And talking to veteran crypto people who are like, I don't know what you're talking about. You're like, wow, this person's extremely on the ball in the crypto space, and they have no idea what NFTs are. They've been around for 2.5, 3 years. And there's this small community forming around them. So we decided to start Digital, which was almost like a generator or a studio for NFT creations. And we wanted to build in the metaverses and start, the economies that are going to be forming in there. Whether it be a storefront or whether it being, in Digital, you're welcome to scan the QR codes, and it takes you right to most of your work in OpenSea that you can either buy or view. So we're gonna, we just people have to start playing around with the economics of the metaverses, with crypto art, the second markets. So they're all taking shape, and they're gonna form differently than some expected. There's going to be game theory playing in here that,
Yep.
just like us, we put out free tokens to be able to get into our building. And
Which
someone
I
went out
think is really cool. I didn't
completely.
realize that you could do that. And when I saw that you guys did that, I think that is really awesome and like opens up so many ideas.
Well, we wanted to incentivize someone to come there. A lot of the profits for the NFTs goes right to Ross's legal fund.
Oh,
So
that's amazing.
exactly. So it's something that's pretty much a benefit. Plus, there's collectors. There's limited supply of all the different NFTs. So we wanted, to have something where you can access the building in different levels depending on what NFT you hold in your wallet. And someone went in, which we didn't even think of at first, went in and one day just grabbed 180 of them until we realized we're like, these are free. Good on them. I don't blame them for doing so. And these are things, mechanics you have to find out. So we, now we have them for $1 listed. So it's a very small entry fee to gain access. And again, for different conferences that we'll be hosting in the future, we'll be giving those away to the first 100 attendees that sign up, and then maybe the next 200 have to pay the $1.
Sure.
And again, we're kind of figuring out the business logic behind again how we can utilize the different spaces in the metaverse.
That's exciting. And yeah, I see. I like that you guys are kind of jumping in because I've been a part of the Crypto Voxels community for maybe like
You're OG CV.
No, I don't know about that. But Jin
No,
brought me
you've been
in.
there a while. Yeah.
Yeah, for maybe I February of 2019, I guess. So a little bit over a year.
Okay.
And when even from then to now, I feel like there haven't been there's a ton of amazing individuals in there. I feel like there haven't been a ton of like brands come into that world,
Mhm.
which is interesting. And I think what you guys are doing is really exciting because you're active in Decentraland, you're active in crypto voxels. I don't know, I haven't really checked out the Somnium space yet,
Yes.
but like
Yeah,
you guys are. What'd you say?
we're building in Somnium space right now.
Yeah, see, like you guys are just like on it, like connecting with these communities, like on the ground building. I think that is really exciting because you don't see a ton of it. We need a lot more of it. And you guys are doing something that's like directly related to all of this, especially those worlds are the perfect place to show off crypto art, and your NFTs, no matter what they are. So
Yeah.
I think that's exciting that you guys are doing that. Do you want to share your screen and show us, and let's hope
Sure.
it doesn't mess up, but show us the build in Decentraland? And then I'm going to start reading through any of these questions, as well while you pull that up.
Perfect. So this is at, if you are in DCL, and you are at the Genesis block that it drops you into, this is minus 4363 is technically the property that will drop you exactly to this view of it. There is Logan, our one
Oh, hey.
co-founder, walking up there.
I
Nice.
love that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So because we've got the digital, um, kind of the hologram coin, we are able to access the building. So if we walk over here, we've got a little bit of, um, this is kind of a legend on what avatar gets you to what floor. This shows you the different Rosses. So walk up here, go into the building here, and there's one of the Ross. So these are some art pieces. This is one of Tom's bills
Yep.
from series, which I love that series. So again, if you scan the QR code underneath here, this would take you directly to OpenSea. And if they're for sale, you're able to purchase them. And if not, you can put an offer in if need be. So
I
there's
love
Logan
his
Paul.
emotes. That's awesome.
Yeah, so here is the elevator over here. So again, it knows that I've got the next avatar that's required. And again, there's a list of them over on the wall here.
Sure.
And so I'm able to go in the
So do you
elevator.
guys have someone on your team that is like a builder, or are you guys find outsourcing and finding people to build for you from these communities?
That is a very good question. So we do have one full-time dev, and another part-time, that does kind of things as need be.
Hmm.
But we used actually Quell Code, which was
Oh
Renee
yeah,
from
of
Chain
course.
Breakers. Yes, who I respect very much in the industry. So Renee is the one who built this with Quell Code, and this is when I guess he was still with Chain Breakers, who's since I guess departed. So each level here, now I know
This is a
in
cool level.
yeah, in retrospect, what we are lacking in here, which we are going to change very soon, we're going to put an arena in here where we can host conferences.
Okay.
We want a stage, we want a screen. We'd like to, given what's going on right now and no conferences that I know of on the agenda in the next 6 to 8 months,
Yeah.
uh, it's something that it just makes sense right now. I'm engaged in VR often in different conferences, whether it be Crypto Mondays or ETH VR. A couple of the Metaverse Minds get-togethers here and there. So it is something that I think there's going to be more engagement in this, obviously, in the next 12 months, especially as the headset prices come down and
Hmm.
everyone else, their supplies kick in again, and everything gets shipped. So again, on some levels, we've got some letters that Ross has written, that are also on the freeross.org website that you can click on them, they'll populate, you can read them. And then on the fourth floor, so there's one of Josie's right there.
Hey,
So
hey.
on the fourth floor, you need a Ross bar, which is this physical bar.
Oh,
So
I wish I had mine right next to me so I could pull it
totally.
up.
There's 500 of these that we made. Under the hologram there is the Ross, under the free Ross tamper-resistant hologram is a QR code. So if you scan that, it will populate the Tuxedo Ross avatar, which to date only 2 of them have been populated.
Oh, wow. So
Yes.
people are wanting to keep that kind of with the bar for maybe resale or something like that? Or do you think people just
I think
haven't? had
Well,
the time to get in.
if you have one and you're a true collector, you probably would want to redeem it.
Hmm.
I know Sky, hats off to Sky. He's very helpful in this space.
He's awesome.
Yes, I like Sky very much. So Sky bought two of them
Hmm.
specifically, one to keep and one to redeem.
Awesome. Hell
He's one of the
yeah.
people. Yeah. So yeah, there's quite a few people in this space. As far as like Pablo's in the metaverse. Mine's Pablo's doing awesome things. Whale Shark, I know I have to give him props. I don't know him personally, but I know he does tons of things.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of people, like Jin especially. There's tons of people in the space who step up and are extremely helpful, and I think will definitely be part of the history books for this space.
Oh, absolutely. And those people you mentioned, I think maybe one of them I didn't recognize at the beginning, or maybe I didn't hear well, but I agree. All of those, it's interesting because all of these people are doing so much for the space, but they're doing it in so many different ways. But it's exciting to see once like those people cross paths and like the creators with the collectors and everything is kind of coming together. Which I think you guys did a beautiful job here. And I do remember clicking on one of the notes and reading it in here the one other time that I was in this build, that I thought was really awesome. And it was a nice way to bring um, something, that's really important to this virtual world, which obviously, like, they're avatars and they're not, like, insanely realistic, but to bring kind of that, thought of how serious it is and what's going on there to bring it into the build was really awesome.
Yes. Yes. So yeah. So these are the Ross avatars that all the sale for all these go to Lynn's legal fund, and this is the coin that you need to access the front lobby.
That's awesome. And that's that one you said is $1?
That one's $1, yes,
Okay.
and ETH and everything else, and then these are the other ones. We just did the Ross birthday one. Ross's 36th birthday, his 7th year. Unfortunately, he spent in
Yeah.
prison on his birthday. Was on March 27th. So we did the special Ross birthday avatar, and then we've got the mask as well as the other the flag, which I'm missing. Fly my flag. I have to admit. I have to admit.
That's funny. So I got some messages here in the chat that I'm just reading. Some awesome shout outs for Renee that he does fantastic work. Um, Maddie, I see Maddie, DCL blogger in here, which is awesome.
Maddie is
And
fantastic as well.
oh yeah, he's
DCL
great.
Blogger, DCL Plazas. I don't know
They're
there's so many people
awesome.
that other people don't really know what's going on that are, I don't know, they're going to be part of the driving force on why this is being mass adopted.
Oh
It's
yeah, and I mean Maddie
all
himself,
deserve a huge hats off.
totally. He makes, really awesome content and has been doing it for a while. And recently we've connected and also um, uh, DCL Plazas. We've also connected briefly, but it's really awesome just to, they're really excited about their world, the virtual worlds in general, and they're getting involved in some things in CV and pulling some CV people into DCL, which I really like seeing that. I judged this fashion show they had at Decentraland the other day.
Yes, those
Uh,
couple weeks ago. Yeah,
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 which was really awesome. And
yeah.
we just briefly talked about how it would be so cool to um, kind of have this aspects of like interoperability, like have an embassy or a headquarters or whatever in each world. So Decentraland has like a CryptoVoxels embassy that looks like it's like from CryptoVoxels, like totally
Yeah.
voxelized, and then
Stellar.
vice versa. Because in CryptoVoxels we have weekly meetups with Matthew from Scent and
Yep.
Rizzle, who are awesome hosts, and Conlin, he does auctions and crypto voxels with No Shot. So like there's
Yes.
so many amazing like steady, he's building education stuff. There's so many amazing things, and weekly we have these meetups that bring, around 70 people. So think about how awesome that would be. Jin does these amazing virtual reality tours or field trips.
Yes.
So think about how amazing it would be to go to that embassy and just like teleport to that world and then back and forth and kind of jump around. I would love to see more of that in this space, just more connection to bring people through all the worlds because there's enough room for all of them. They all do a completely different thing and look completely different. I don't necessarily see them as like only competitors. You know what I mean?
No, if you think of the metaverse as like the new internet in that sense, look how many websites reside on the internet. There's hundreds of billions.
Right.
So there's definitely space for, for hundreds of millions of different, storefronts, economies, and all this other, and things are going to spur up. When the net was born, we didn't realize Amazon was coming. We didn't know Netflix was coming.
Mm-hmm.
So there's things that we aren't thinking of yet that are going to, be dominant, huge, $100 billion companies, that are going to be
Absolutely.
born off of what's starting right now, which is
Absolutely.
we're here to, to see that.
And there's some comments coming in saying CV and Somnium Space are doing that, which I do know that they are both of the founders there are really big on figuring out how to make it even like down to like the wearables in crypto
Yes,
voxels, how to make
I
those
have
work in both
I
worlds.
have to say I'm very impressed. Being in the NFT space for say a year and a half, pretty like seriously, seeing what Somnium Space has done recently, like they kind of came out of nowhere, say 6 to 8
Totally.
months ago, and are dominating. They have like very high quality platform. With the economics going on with cubes, the teleportation in there. I don't know. There's some serious waterfront properties that in VR are going to look absolutely amazing.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
so yeah, and then again, if that's a stepping stone to something else 5 years from now, or that's like layer one of five that they're going to be putting out, I can't imagine what it's going to be like in time.
Totally. And Artur is his name, right? I just
It is,
want to
yes.
make sure
He's
I don't
engaged with the
pronounce it wrong.
community. Him and Sebastian from the
Oh
Sandbox
yeah.
in Nolan, they're engaged with their community. I find it astounding that one individual can handle that much
Yeah.
support. It's like literally, I tip my hat to them because I know that's very, very hard to do and have a work-life balance in any remote way.
Oh yeah, and they were, from what I understand, I don't know a ton, and I need to know more. But from what I understand, they were initially launching Somnium Space with not even a desktop version. Like they're full on like VR guys,
100%.
which I think was really actually cool to have that aspect that they are just so VR driven to have that port. But then I think they did start supporting a desktop version, which is obviously important for so many different reasons. There aren't enough people with headsets, but it's cool that they do have that focus, and their goal is to make the VR aspect really awesome. Which I think Ben is working on that. For a while, it was working in the Quest. I don't know if CB is working well in the Quest right now. And then Decentraland obviously has the long-term vision to do that. I don't know exactly when,
And
but that's exciting to
CB,
see.
looks really nice actually in
Mm-hmm.
using Oculus Quest, but you can't chat. There's no talking. You
Oh
can't chat, you
yeah.
can't type. So that's a barrier. But as far as aesthetically, it looks really nice.
That's good to know. Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll message that to Ben because he's always working on something crazy cool. But maybe there's always like these small things that he like is like, oh yeah, that stopped working. I need to fix that. So we just need
yeah,
to remind
yeah.
him.
He seems on top of things pretty quick.
Yeah. And there were actually a lot of questions that came in, not in the chat now, but earlier from the tweet and that I put out, and from the question, the Google Doc question I was collecting questions on.
Mhm.
People were wondering how you even got started with your and backtracking a little. Then we'll move on. But how you even got started with advocating for Ross and why that is so important to you. We had a few questions come in saying that they are confused why people support Ross. And I think it's an interesting topic that's out there, and I've heard totally different sides. So can you tell us a little bit about how you got started advocating for Ross and why you think it's important? And what would you say to the people who don't agree with you, if you would say anything?
Yeah, by all means. And you know what? I can see some side, and the picture that's been painted is slightly one-sided. Um, Coming from the government, that's not something that's new. Um, I would say over the last, say, 2 decades, I've been maybe opening my eyes to seeing what's going on more and more around the world, not only in the banking system, but just in government, with just the petrodollar and everything else that's happening. Um, Seeing Ross in jail for a non-violent crime, the tampering that went on in that case, the stolen bitcoins, the unaccountable laptop for 5 hours, someone, the first detective that was on the case who wasn't as corrupt as every other D agent who touched that case, was the one who was stealing at Carpelis, looking at him with Mt. Gox and Bitcoin Talk, and everything on the back end with all the registries for the websites and the platforms they were using, all completely pointed to Carpelis. And thought is that yes, Ross was one of the DPRs, but maybe the creator of the site and then handed it off when things started really going AWOL. And the agents who accused and who actually charged Ross with the murder for hire and the kingpin charge, that charge was dropped 3 weeks after all his sentence was laid out. So the heaviest charge that he was charged with, that got him the bail he had, for not being able to smile at his parents in the courtroom. There were strict things that they were put on him that make no sense whatsoever. And you can kind of tell with what the government had to lose with a free market being born like that. Is I know I don't think it's like an Epstein. I don't think they're going to let that happen. So from what they, the consequences they gave him, the 2 life sentences plus 40 years. El Chapo, who is known to have killed 90 plus people, some of them children, got 1 life sentences plus 30 years.
Yep.
So the justification behind that is just, it's AWOL. It makes no sense whatsoever. And Chuck Schumer and some of the people involved in the case literally were making names for themselves. They were all kind of in the old gentleman's club with each other. So it makes sense what happened to him. And again, I think, the murder for hire, I don't believe that's, yes, they put out there that did happen. I think that was literally created by the DEA agents. They had access by taking Curtis Green. They had his admin password for DPR, so they could have done whatever they wanted and planted any email from an admin from Silk Road. So I know there's too many holes in the case, and there's a lot of experts too that came in saying, the email evidence was obviously tampered with. That was all thrown out. Ross's lawyer at every turn was either given 5,000 documents the night before, or saying you can't talk to the witness and whatnot. So there was just things the judge had even kind of overruled that no court case would ever that wouldn't be repeated. So it looks like this was set up from the get-go on exactly what they were going to do to Ross, no matter what was brought into evidence. So it was, I don't know, it just reminds me of like Hurricane Reuben Carter story. It was just from the get-go, this is the guy who we're pegging on, and everyone's going to go along with this, no matter what needs to be changed, or like whatever computer forensics need to do. I think it was done, and again, I'm not saying Ross was completely innocent and should be absolved from anything, but say 10 to 15 years, 7 he's already spent there. With good time, maybe another 1 or 2 would be justified. But again, giving him the sentence he got, it's almost like you're making it so out there and unreasonable that no one would think of doing it again. Which is funny because after Silk Road went off, it spurred, there was 5 times the amount of Tor, sites like this. So it's so funny the way it works out in the end.
Yeah, no, I think that was really well said. And I think something that is also important is that a lot of people, when they hear and they don't agree with people fighting for Ross's freedom, and they're like, well, he was a criminal. He did do things wrong. A lot of times I think people forget that even the people that are fighting for Ross aren't saying that he didn't do anything wrong and he's totally fine and he should be free and this was all, baloney and like he's not even connected. Like, I think people often forget that and think that the people who are supporting Ross just think he did nothing. There were definitely some things that are a crime, but
Yes.
What his sentence was a crime. Like, his sentence was totally, I mean, for the people that don't know in the chat, it was 2 life sentences plus 40 years, right?
But yes, and for a non-violent offender that had no criminal charges prior to that.
Yeah, so
and killed nobody in the process.
right. So literally sentencing him to die in prison. It's his entire life. And he went in when he was how old? Do you remember? 20?
I believe, well, it was 26.
26.
When he started Silk Road, so I believe it was 28.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean it's nuts. So I think it's interesting. A lot of people don't often forget that people that are fighting for Ross, we are. A lot of people are saying, sure, he can serve some time in prison. He served 7 years so far, but his sentence is what is a complete injustice. So thank you for sharing that. That was really well said. And you're obviously just so educated on the topic.
Yeah, I would urge on the freeross.org website that kind of his mom and others run. It's called The Real Untold Story, and it's YouTube. It's about 2 hours and 15 minutes, but it is fantastic. And if you watch that and dig a little wee bit into some of the things they talk about, there's no way that you can think that there wasn't some serious tampering going on with that case.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think one second, I think we just cut out on. Oh, there we are. It was video buffering. No, I completely agree. And for anyone who's listening, if you haven't gone to freeross.org to sign the petition, that is a free way to help Ross. You don't even have to donate. If you'd like to donate, there's options with all different cryptocurrencies to donate, and obviously all of that goes directly to lawyer fees set up to help with that case. And his family is just, I mean, they're incredible people. I had the pleasure of joining you guys for dinner and have met Lynn, his mom, a few times, and she is just such a fighter. She's so amazing, and I mean, yeah, I have like full body goosebumps just thinking about what she does. So
I give her credit, and there's not many mothers out there who would, when someone says I'd do anything for my son, this lady truly does that for sure.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. That was awesome.
100%.
Let's see. I am going to read some of these questions that we had come in, and then let's just keep going from there. All right, so there's some questions about going back to NFTs. What do you look for when you collect NFTs and physical artworks?
Definitely kind of scarcity would be a top factor. I like how you do the kind of the 21. If you did 200, you might make me shy away.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. As far as I don't know, and again, most of my collection would be crypto art. So I see a lot of collectors who will grab a crypto piece here and there, but a lot of their portfolio is just whatever, across the spectrum. And I don't know, I would say that I specifically the crypto pieces just talk to me. Things that are not only BTC but ETH involved, like your things, they really speak to me. And again, like yours, the bold colors, they're eye catching. So like your most recent piece, that is, I don't know, by far just my favorite because of the standout colors on it. So when I saw that at NFT MIC, I was like, oh my good God, I absolutely love that. So yeah. So things like that. And again, I would say I have the most of the things in my collection would be at the front of that list. Coldy, I like his work as well. I have quite a few of his pieces. Crypto Graffiti, I like his physical pieces as well. And then again, so you crossed over as well. Your NFTs blow me away. I love them, especially the new one as well. That's my favorite by far NFT.
Oh, that's awesome. Didn't know that.
Oh, 100%.
That's awesome.
Prometheus, I really like his stuff. Lucho Pleti, his stuff is really cool as well as NFT wise. So
yeah, you're heavily focused with like, see, I have a separation. I say, and people will argue this, and it's totally their own opinion. It's fine. I say crypto art and then NFT art, because I think crypto art means it has to be crypto themed. So there's some crypto art that is also NFT art, but not all NFT art is crypto art, in my opinion. So from my definition, you collect a ton of crypto art, not necessarily just NFT art.
Yeah, and the only pieces that aren't really crypto focused would be something of Tesla, Assange, Ross. So really, it's kind of around the movement of freedom and be your own bank anyway. So yeah, kind of the idea of the art. And again, the political things that you have embedded in yours. Goldie does some cool political things as well. I like that. I like, I don't know, kind of sticking it to the man, but in a very subtle way.
Yeah. Do you want to show a little bit of your collection?
Yes, please.
Okay, cool.
So I have some of these set up. Some of them are still away, but Ross, this one has to be one of my favorites by far. So that's one of 10 there, which I love. There's Tune In. That is my son's Tune In. My one is downstairs, and the other one is in the box. There's some of Coldie's pieces. This is one of 50 Exnopolis, one of 50 Vitalik.
Yep.
Yeah. There is my Holy Grail that I love the most.
That's so awesome.
Yes. And
wow, I love this display you have going on.
Yeah, I've taken over.
You take them all down from the wall and you put them all over here.
Yeah, totally. And do you know what I remembered? I remembered that I got some of these off you too, which I love these.
Yep. And yours are the only ones that are hand signed. You were like, I need you to hand sign these. Bring them to the conference with you, which was really funny.
And then there's the.
Oh, I love that.
And actually, this is the halving. I just thought this is a good time. This takes place in a couple. That was
Did you
from
get
the,
both of those at Satoshi Roundtable?
at the roundtable 100%.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, Troy is really cool. Um, I'm
Very.
glad you got some stuff from him. I still have to collect something from him, but he's an awesome guy.
Yes, I agree.
Um, just reading some of the stuff. Yeah, people said that Tesla from Prometheus is incredible.
Oh, it's
I
fantastic.
haven't seen it.
Oh yes, it's got his finger goes up and lightning comes out of it.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's
I need to
fantastic.
see that. People are saying dope collection, sweet collection. Oh shit, nice. People love your collection. They're
Nice. I love it too.
Yeah, which is funny because a lot of it's so funny. Like I said, just a lot of collectors don't pass both sides often. And I have NFT collectors saying, "I don't have room on my wall in my house. Maybe I'll get a digital frame that can hopefully one day have my MetaMask plugged in." Which I think there are some people working on that, which I'm excited about.
You know
And
what?
it
I would
flips through.
definitely want one of those.
Oh yeah, I'll let you know immediately once they tell me they're
Please do.
ready.
Yeah.
um, but a lot of people don't have the room and everything like that. And then I have physical collectors who, unless they really start to see the NFT space, are like, why the hell would I want a digital copy of this? But
Yeah.
it's funny because often the NFTs are, which another reason why I think artists actually don't often go into both realms. Physical Selling physical work is very hard. It's a process. You have to have an amazing printer,
Mhm.
a printer that you go to, or you have to. Me myself, I have an archival printer myself. It was my first huge investment in my own self in my career. I have an archival printer myself. That is very rare and doesn't happen because it's 500 pounds and bigger than a couch. So my last few apartments, I never even had furniture because I had a huge printer. And then I
Yeah.
finally moved into an apartment where my room was large enough to house my printer, so it wasn't taking up the space for a couch. But anyways, for artists, it's really hard for digital artists to find the value in physical work because it's expensive. You have to, once you get it printed at like a print shop, you have to go there and physically sign everything. You have to
Mhm.
pack everything. You have to bring it to the post office and ship everything.
It's
And
like a
you're
big pain
doing
in the
that.
That's the biggest pain in the ass for the two of us of all is the shipping and everything else.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, and I mean it's expensive. It's all these different things, and then if it
Yeah.
doesn't show up or if it's damaged, you have to replace it. The
Yep.
insurance is shit on like almost anything you're shipping. So there's just so many different things, and actually, you make so much more money through NFTs often than you do through physical work. But to
Well, you
me,
know what?
physical work is still so important.
When I met
Um,
you with consensus, I would have preferred that time. Like you're tuned in. When I grabbed that, I didn't even know you were giving the NFT essentially. When you did, I think that was just kind of like a bonus.
yeah,
Uh,
it was.
now, now, if you look at like when you release some of those newer ones, there was only four in the auctions. At now, I would much rather prefer your NFT. If I can get both, that'd be fantastic.
Right.
If I can only grab one, I would prefer your NFT to be honest.
Yeah, so it's so interesting. But
Yeah,
yeah,
would be.
it's kind of a funny thing. Um, all right. So someone asked, people are saying viewing our NFTs needs improvements. And they said obviously digital frames would be amazing, but then they also said, what is your favorite kind of way to display your NFTs?
I would say aesthetically, OpenSea is the nicest for almost like the Pinterest of your portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
All the photos there, you can categorize on the left-hand side for each individual NFT platform. But as far as for safety reasons, I don't know, like a ledger or whatnot is recommended for storage reasons. But yeah, someone, because MetaMask, as much as I know MetaMask is solid, they've been around for a while. MetaMask is understaffed in my mind. They've been crashing a lot more lately. On my iPhone, I'm still on test flight to them, so it's really a beta mode that I'm using. So it's I know I wish there was an edge, so to speak, or something along the lines of Edge or BitGo. I wish there was a comparable to that in the NFT space that was not only aesthetically pleasing, but also was extremely secure.
Yeah.
And I think we're a ways away from that NFT space right now. People are still trying to figure out how to secure your crypto, let alone your land and whatever else. But again, like these MetaMask wallets or whatever you're using, Trust, Porta, if any of these like eventually going to be huge honeypots. So if someone's got 400 pieces of land in there and 600 pieces of digital art. That's the same as someone holding those 500 BTC,
Oh yeah,
especially
yeah.
at some point in time. So things are going to have to change in the future in that aspect. There's going to have to be a lot more security coming into play. And then again, does that also bring KYC and everything else? Because what happens if what happens if someone lists something on OpenSea, for $190,000? There's going to be new dynamics coming into play with NFTs. I would say in the next 18 to 24 months.
Yeah, and I also do like that you can connect your ledger to your MetaMask, just to your point.
That is very helpful. Yes.
Um, yeah, no, that is helpful. And then as far as like showing off your NFTs, do you have like in crypto? Obviously, we saw some
Crypto
of your work
voxels get a
in
ton of
digital
work.
or in Decentraland, which was awesome, in the
Yep.
digitables building.
Yes. In CV, we have, I think in CV, we've got 8 different digital buildings. And the majority of them have either your artwork, Ross's, or Prometheus and Lucho's. So yeah, that's where most of the art is shown off. And I believe for a while there, well, you can tell it's mine because it's framed in silver, is it not? And then
It's
it's
like
not.
shiny. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, so it's nice walking in and seeing all these awesome pieces of art,
Yeah.
all shining silver. It's funny because my real frames are all silver as well.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
they're
that's
all
true.
silver. Yeah.
That's true. Also, I had a funny comment just come up. So, another really awesome collector would love to have you on sometime. Lev said, "Hi, Steve. My name is Lev. You are an excellent collector and one of my biggest rivals."
Oh, nice. Well, I'm
that
happy that someone's as enthused about
yes,
to smart as I am. So hats off to you, buddy.
that is so awesome. Thank you, Lev, for that awesome comment, and that
Because yeah,
is really funny.
Token Angels gives me a rise for my money. Whale Shark definitely gives me a rise for my money. And there's some of them. There's another piece that just came up, and it was, I don't know the artist's name, but wow, was it ever beautiful? And it got to a point where Joanna was like, it came to be like, no, this is
Yeah,
now coming to, this is an investment speaking now. This is like
yeah,
just pure personal. So I had to let that one go, but some of them hurt when you let them go. And afterwards, you're
yeah.
like, damn, I totally should have grabbed that.
Well, at some point it gets hard because even for the artist, I'll tell you that like as much as you guys are biting your teeth to make like see if another bid comes in at the last second, like for the artist, it is such a fucking roller coaster. Like
I
I
bet.
literally am like sitting and I'm like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, like extending another 5 minutes, extending another 5 minutes, and it's
Yeah,
like it's stomach turning, and it's like super
yeah.
exciting to see people come out and support you
Totally.
and
Or
bidding on the stuff they love.
especially if you start riding past your expectations. That must be a pretty
Yeah,
good
yeah,
thing. Yeah.
totally. Which is just awesome to see. And then on that, there was a question that came in: have you been in a bidding war? Which it sounds like you probably have been in a bidding
I
war
definitely
before.
have, yes. Yes.
Okay, cool. And do you feel like that happens often, or just once in a
And you know
while?
what? Depending on the person and how cool the piece is, it's something that sometimes I don't mind bowing out. And instead of being like, why am I going to drive this up if I might let them have it anyway.
Yeah,
So I don't know. Sometimes maybe for the artist it's not a positive thing, but sometimes I don't know. I feel it's more respectful to bow out if you're going head to head with someone who
oh yeah,
you really know collects that artist pieces, and it might outbid you anyway. So why would you
yeah.
are you driving up to 3 ETH? If you're gonna give it up anyway. So
Totally. No, I'm in agreement with you there. Um, so let's see what other questions we had come in.
I have to say, some projects that I really like, Crypto
Yeah.
Motors. Crypto Motors is solid. They're doing some cool stuff in the metaverse. Plus their cars are really neat.
They
Zed
have
Run.
they have a really freaking amazing build in CryptoVoxels and was
I
like
just thought they released it. It's fantastic.
it was one of the first besides a lot of money who we're actually having on tomorrow night, but
Yeah,
it was one of the first builds besides a lot of money who's an artist that I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. Like the cars like spinning on the I
yeah,
don't even know what it's called, like the turntable kind of thing. It looks like a real car shop.
yeah. It's
It's
like an auto shop.
bizarre.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
fantastic.
it looks awesome. And then what else were you saying? You said
Zed Run, the virtual horse races.
okay. I don't know a
With
lot
the
about
tables.
Zedrun.
Oh yeah, it's just I don't know. It's very very interesting project.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Um, okay, so I'm just reading. I'm weeding out some of these that we've already answered.
Yeah. just as a reminder.
Yes, that's an awesome little break. All right. So um, what is the best way to learn about collecting NFTs? And I can also chime in here, but for you, what has been kind of the learning process for you, or if you just see something you like, you go for it.
I'd have to say lately, some platforms that I definitely utilize a lot to kind of check up on what's going on in the space. OpenSea, I look at multiple times a day. Um, Super Rare, I look at all the time. Known Origin and Maker's Place, I look at often. Just as of new, perhaps Nifty when your stuff in Coldies is dropping, as well as ArtSync when you had your stuff on there. So I don't
Yeah.
know, these platforms, as cool as the platforms are, and I know the tech was a hard build. A lot of the times, I hope they're giving respect to the artists because some of you are driving their development and their community growth.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that they recognize that yes, they build cool tech, but the community has been driven by a handful of really cool artists. So I hope that's recognized. If it is, good. If not, they need to change that. But other than that, I look at nonfungible.com often,
Yep.
uh, and then I try and just read. I try and read what's going on with Ethereum and EOS because the platforms. Maybe Tron if it's in the news, which it is for Justin's reasons,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But
Justin's a very nice guy, by the
did you not
way.
meet him at the round table?
Yep,
He's
he is
very nice.
very
His sister
nice.
was lovely,
Yep.
and whatnot. But yeah, he does. He just does some unique things.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Unique is a great word.
yeah, yeah. And it's funny because now when I do my downloading, I see D Live and Tron TV up in the corner. You know what I mean? It's like amazing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
And someone actually asked that if you look at EOS or, other blockchains
I
besides
think it'd
Ethereum.
definitely be naive not to pay attention to what's going on. EOS is supposed to kind of be the ETH killer. So far, that hasn't panned out. So is Tron.
Yeah.
Seem to be more like I don't know, just kind of minor games or gambling that's kind of flourishing on there. I think Cosmos perhaps has some potential to gain some traction in the NFT space moving forward. I think with the price dropping there for a while and with this COVID happening, things aren't as they should be for Cosmos. But right now is like looking around the ecosystem, what's being built out and who's doing what. Ethereum seems to be a very clear winner right now for my mind.
Awesome. And this is actually a good lead into um, another question that Dan actually from Non Fungibles posted.
Yeah.
I didn't see the comment before it, so sorry for the comment I missed, but it was about Avastars and I think just in general, like maybe CryptoPunks, like actual on-chain art. How
Yep.
important is immutable on-chain graphics to you? Um, so do you know what they mean by that? Like, how is that important to you?
I would say no.
Okay. Do you
No.
think it's like in when you see that autoglyphs is completely on chain or CryptoPunks or Avastars, do you think that that's cool and that you want to collect it, or are you just not really into that?
No, it wouldn't drive me to collect it.
Okay.
So, for example, if you did that, that would be an added bonus that I would appreciate. If again, that's not going to be something that's going to attract me and saying because you're doing this by default, I'm going to either collect their NFTs or look into it. But again, there is some cool projects out there that some of them like Urbit and whatnot. Like there's some cool things happening that a lot of people don't understand, and even people like myself, I've looked into very briefly. Sounds cool. It's getting some traction. It does good 7-day volume. But again, I don't know much about it. It's not something I've always kind of dove headfirst in the metaverses after researching them a bit, and it just made sense, and I saw the value in it. So unless I don't know, like just because someone's doing it doesn't mean it's really cool.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
that's a good answer. What are your views on royalties for artists on resales? And I think you touched a little bit on that, and I can chime in
Yeah.
after, but go ahead.
I would say I think it's deserved, especially right now with the price of Ethereum, with the early days, with not many collectors out there for you. In the future, if you can, multi-sell across 45 platforms, you've got 80,000 people looking at your work when it drops, and ETH is at $1,300. That's a completely different landscape financially than what you would be, credited with your work right now for. So I think that you should be moving forward because your art is going to appreciate in value. Ethereum is going to go up in price. So all these factors, you deserve it. And again, if you sell something now for 1.5 ETH, someone sells it for 8, someone sells it for 20, someone's selling it for 410. You getting 8 of those along the line. I think that's very fair. And it also, I don't know, I don't see many collectors. Like as a collector, I wouldn't have a problem at all with that on a secondary market.
And I will say that a lot of collectors have spoken out about it and agree that there was a big conversation amongst artists that were saying the platforms that we support by putting our art on them need to support us by applying royalties on secondary market. And I think some of the platforms had it in the past and then moved away from it. And by this big kind of call to action, like, hey, you guys need to do this again, or we're not going to use your platform. And of course, it was said in a way more positive light, but just that general message, a lot of platforms kind of stepped up and made that adjustment again, which was really nice. And as you know, I don't use platforms really besides async, and we can talk about async as well because I'm obsessed with it. But I use OpenSea. So a lot of artists didn't know this, but with OpenSea, you don't have like that built-in collector base. You have to kind of bring a community with you or build a community and do your own kind of marketing and push like that, because there are obviously virtual land gaming, like it's a marketplace. It's not necessarily like an art curation, whatever. But with OpenSea, you've always been able to pick your own royalty. So when I get super excited when there's secondary sales and the collector is able to make an amazing return, and then I do get a small cut of that. So I think that's really great. Nifty Gateway also, I thought they did something really cool, which I want to see come on to OpenSea. They had something called Global Bid. So once the 21 NFTs that I released of that edition were totally sold out, someone, if they want one, can go to that page and say Global Bid and bid whatever 3 ETH, and it goes to everyone's inbox and it says, hey, someone bid whatever it is, I think $750 on this NFT you just bought 10 minutes ago for $250. Do you want to accept it or not? So anyone can accept it, and whoever accepts it first.
So again, you might get someone with a low number accepting it,
right?
If you're lucky, or you just get a higher number if someone wants.
And you could go in and specifically bid on a particular one, like if you wanted 21 of 21. But like I was getting people bidding on 1 of 21, but a lot of people might just not know I don't give up my 1s of 21s. Those are mine.
Oh, I know that.
A lot of people are like putting bids on those. I'm like, it's not gonna happen. That's like my investment in myself. Like those are mine.
And so it should be.
Yeah, but it was a cool feature, and I'd like to see other platforms support that, where at least for editioned works, you can say, hey, I just want to get one. I'll pay you double or triple what you just bought it for. Just accept it. And I saw a couple of those go through, and I immediately got a kickback, which was amazing. So that was awesome. I think that's super important.
Nifty threw me off at first.
What'd you say?
Nifty threw me off at first for your one piece. It was only with Visa, and I was like, this is weird.
No, there was a way to use MetaMask. Did you figure it out?
I think but it can't be for if you're bidding or an outright purchase or something. It has to be something else, I was told.
Oh, was it?
So yeah, there was a discussion in the MetaMask group about it. But,
I'll ask about that. I didn't know that.
But again, a lot of people on the flip side of that have said they're very welcoming that instead of needing ETH and all the hurdles to go through, that just get a Visa and who cares? You can just buy it.
Yeah.
Which I understand where they're coming from in that sense. It just threw me off a little bit because the norm was to pay with
totally ETH. Which is interesting because when you do buy it from the market, they give you the opportunity to purchase with your MetaMask. So that is weird. I'll ask them about that because I didn't know that for the pre-orders that you couldn't pay with MetaMask. So I'll message them about that. But also on that note, some people talking about for Easy in Crypto, yes, it's called the Global Bid. You can look at it on Nifty Gateway site. It's really cool. And some people were saying they didn't know about the OpenSea royalties. Okay, let's talk a little bit about. Oh, sorry, I'm just reading some of these.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'll comment to some of this stuff later. But I just wanted to briefly mention async art. Have you collected anything from async yet from anyone or not yet?
I had some bids on your stuff.
Okay.
They were the Onward,
Uh-huh.
Onward, and a couple of the 21 million and stuff like that. There was some bids on there. At first, it was a learning curve on just the dynamics of it.
Yep.
And then also, I went on there the first day, and it was like it was showing up,
Totally
and then
messed up.
the site doesn't exist. I was like, "What's going on?" And I think I emailed you, you're like, "Josie, is this a scam?" Remember?
Yeah.
And you're like, "No, it's totally cool. They're just having some trouble launching today."
Yeah.
But yeah, again, that's the Final Supper,
Mhm.
like things like that. I don't know. I like you thinking outside the box. The group of you all like I just like how there's this young crew of these like crazy digital artists that are doing some really cool forward thinking things. Um,
Yeah.
I know whatever is working, whatever doesn't work, so be it. But that's how things happen. You know what I mean? And I think like I know that was so some people they'd be like if they read an article saying, "Oh my God, it was like what was that 104 or 110 ETH or something?"
Yeah, something crazy.
Um,
And then the
well,
layers went for even more.
if you equate that to dollars right now to someone who's, you know, what I mean, a single dad or something like that who just lost his job during
Yeah.
this pandemic, they'd be like, "Are you out of your mind?" In
Mhm.
the future, I think someone's going to go, "I can't believe they got it for 110 ETH,"
Yeah.
and that's when ETH was worth nothing compared to what it will be when they're saying that.
Right.
So things like that, and again, I know I see a lot of my portfolio in your pieces as just another asset in my portfolio.
Yeah,
So
that's awesome.
when I
Thank
met
you.
you, and well, when I saw these, and I was like they're limited. You sign them. There's NFTs coming with them. This girl is like, so young, so talented. She's got a huge career ahead of her in
I'm
this
not gonna die
very
soon.
in this very new blooming field. Well, I just
Yeah.
thought like this is kind of a no-brainer as
Yeah.
as,
Yeah.
a- as a collector's piece. And yeah, I'm very happy. And again, like I've like when on Twitter and stuff, you have a lot of people that are that you help, that you've kind of spawned or spurred this in. And I don't know. I think you are doing more for the community than you'll ever know at this time.
Thank you. That's awesome. I really appreciate that. And obviously, a lot of this is not possible without amazing collectors and community members in the space that are even. And I always want to remind people that you don't. If you want to support an artist and you maybe can't necessarily collect or you don't have money to buy a T-shirt or whatever it is, there are other ways to support artists, like supporting them on social media, adding to their conversations in Discord, on Twitter, whatever it is. Those are also community members in my eyes. So I think that sometimes people forget about that community aspect, but it's so important. So there are other ways that you can support as well. But yeah, no, I agree with everything you said. And all some people were messaging in here about async art, and I actually am gonna have one of these live chats with some of the folks from async, which will dive more into it. But just briefly, the reason why async is so cool and kind of a it's not a sneak preview because I'm not showing you, but I can tell you about some of the things I'm working on that are going to launch on async. Async is uh, the first platform that I've truly, like, art specific platform that I've truly been impressed with. They are not just curating art, like which a lot of platforms are, which are totally fine, and they've done amazing thing for the space. So I'm not discounting that at all. But for me, that's not something I necessarily was looking for. Async art brings so many cool new tech things to the art piece itself. So what it is imagine an art piece, the Mona Lisa, and the background is a different layer. It's a different token than Mona Lisa herself, if
Mhm.
that makes sense. So they're two different tokens. Someone can buy the master, which is a visual of the entire Mona Lisa, but whoever buys the layers of Mona Lisa in the background can actually change the layers based on states that the original artist has already pre-approved. So let's say you want to change the background to a sunny day.
Mhm.
You can change the layer owner can change the background to the sunny day, and the master owner's or digital piece will get updated with that layer's change. So not only that, which is interesting,
Yes.
the really amazing part of it is that you can make that change dependent on um, actual, like, market factors, weather, like actual weather in your location, the time of day. So you can make reactive art on async right now. So if I if I own the layer for the background of the Mona Lisa, and I put in my coordinates of where I'm based out of Chicago, so I put in my coordinates, and async has figured out on the back end which API to feed it into. it will change, the weather in the background will change dependent on what the weather in Chicago is. And then the master owner will be able to see that change in their piece. So some things that I'm working on with that I'm super excited about, with one of my friends in the space that I actually met in Crypto Voxels over a year ago, Taken's Theorem. He is an amazing data, like, I don't know what you even call him, like data scientist. Like, he visualizes data in just such a cool way.
Yeah.
But we're going to be working together to release a piece that, I won't tell everything about it because I want some of it to be a surprise. But basically, that involves a lot of different NFT projects and displaying different market factors of what's going on. So whether that be the price of Ethereum changes the artwork, the rankings on OpenSea changes the artwork. So all of these different things that actually change the artwork. So I think that's really exciting. Even things like the Bitcoin price changing the artwork.
Yes.
So just having that reactive kind of thing is what I'm really excited about. And I'll talk about that more on a different chat, but I just wanted to mention it because some people were
As an
excited.
artist, though, I can see how that would be like a huge that
Oh,
that
yeah.
must be a thing for you, because that's new breakthroughs and things that you can do with your art now.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, and let's see if there's, yeah, someone said programmable art, Josie, just like programmable money, which is very true.
Yeah.
Cool. So I want to see if you have any other thing you want to talk about. At the end, I do want to ask some rapid fire questions. If anyone on Twitch has any cool or any questions they want to ask, feel free and ask them now. And yeah, let me know. Do you want to? Was there anything else you wanted to hit upon?
Other than game credits is kind of the next venture that I'm dabbling in.
Can you
Um,
talk about that a little?
remember game credits from back in the day at all?
No.
Game
I mean,
credits
I
was
can guess what they mean, but I don't know
oh they
specifically.
were from 2014. Did an ICO in
Do you
2017.
know how old I was in 2014? No.
Yeah, too
I'm
young
just
to legally own crypto, or I guess that's not the thing.
No, I'm kidding.
But yeah, so Game, I'm the CMO and co-owner of Game as well. So Game is going to be like a competitor to Engine with an
Mhm.
SDK for developers, and in-game marketplace and everything else. So that's going to be in kind of partnership with Digitable. So we're creating in-game skins or weapon, and Game is right now set to launch, I believe, at the end of July.
Oh, that's exciting. So what would be your,
Yeah, so hopefully we can, well, hopefully we can be run in like in a DApp game. So that's kind of the goal there.
sorry, you cut out a little bit for me. What would be, says my internet connection is unstable. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, it's just kicking back in.
Oh, okay. I might have missed the tail end of that. What would be your, like, would you have games that are already out there, like, connecting to you guys? Like, what would be, like, how would that work?
So yes, they could utilize us for minting in-game items. They
Mm-hmm.
could use us for in-game currency, or our marketplace. So it'd almost be a competitor to like a Wax in some areas,
Okay.
to Mint in others, and then to Engine with an SDK for developers.
Okay.
So yeah, so that kind of in lockstep with Digitable is kind of where we see the future heading.
That's awesome. That's really exciting. And is that, um, oh, I was just reading some digital comments. Stake your game in the game credits platform today. It's
Yeah,
your,
because there's a staking portal as well. So
oh,
if you're staking your game credits, there might be NFTs or wearables and whatnot that there'll be rewards for that, or tokens. So we're just kind of playing out the different groups that are going to be joining us, and then what we're going to be doing for our staking portal.
that's interesting. Yeah, I'd love to learn more about that. I feel like I don't know enough to
It
like,
took me a while to wrap my head around it as well. When I first started dabbling with the idea,
yeah,
it does make sense as far as incentives, and as well, like if I've got all these guns sitting around just in my MetaMask wallet, why
yeah,
should they be there doing nothing? Almost like a Gods Unchained or a Splinterlands model where you can rent them out. If
yeah.
I'm not utilizing, why wouldn't I loan them out to someone, almost like a rocket loan
Oh,
against them, and then I would obtain them back, say, in 30 days.
Okay, now that's really cool. That I understand more now that you broke it down like that.
Yes,
That's exciting. So you said you guys are planning to launch in July?
I believe so. Yes. So right now, if it was Nova Tokens back end, kind of the tech that we're kind of merging with Game as the brand. So the splits take place, I believe, on June 30th.
Okay.
This takes place, so you would your Nova forks, and you will get Games tokens for that. And then when Game launches, the staking portal goes live.
Okay. That's
Yeah,
cool. I'm excited to
game
see how that goes.
gamecredits.org, and then digital is digital.com.
Okay. That's awesome. Digital said let's set up a call to discuss Josie. Yes, because I need to understand more, but it sounds
No
really
doubt.
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And actually, I want to take you up. I know you have a keen eye for things. So if sometime you have any pointers about the digital website that you'd like us
Yeah,
to revise, that would be a good idea.
I would
Please let
love
me know.
that. That would be
Uh,
awesome. Um, that's so funny. Some of these comments are really awesome. Um, Also, a cool comment that I saw while we were talking was someone said we added support for Twitch embeds to CryptoVoxels, tested it with this stream. So we were streaming in CryptoVoxels, which was pretty cool.
oh, nice. Well, that's
Um, and then some questions did come in when I was asking people to ask their last second questions.
mhm.
Um, Someone said, "What does?" Or Andrew Steinwald said, "What does Steve think about CryptoPunks?"
CryptoPunks, again, I'm on the fence. I like the higher quality NFTs and everything else. I have to say they're one of my favorite things on TuneIn in the top left. I like it there. It should be there. It's like an original kind of classic, and I believe technically were they not out before CryptoKitties,
Yeah, they were.
essentially. So yeah, so really maybe getting passed on to to a later project for kind of creating the NFT stir. But I personally don't own any. I know a lot of people love Avastars too, and I think they're really cool. I don't own any of those. But there's certain things that perhaps other collectors would have in their collection that I don't. Um, and yeah, it's mainly art I'm focused on, and then a couple NFT projects that I think are really cool and have a future almost in game or an AR,
Right.
kind of to replace, just like now, Stars Online it's probably played 10 times more than any poker ever in a casino, whatever we played.
Yeah.
So I think when that VR with things like this, it's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to what we were talking about earlier that when you're looking for art, you're not necessarily looking for something that's on chain. That doesn't mean like, oh, you must buy it if that's the case. Like you're looking at visuals first. And to
The
be honest,
pixel
yeah.
art took off really quickly,
Yeah.
and I saw them, I was like, those are cool, but at the same time, I don't know. I would rather wait until it's more enhanced, and then I would definitely probably take up on the project.
Totally. No, I'm with you. Um, Let me see if there is any other last second question. And I want to do the rapid fire questions, which are kind of fun
Okay,
too.
cool.
Also, a huge shout out to Boombox Head, who has been like modding this chat, and he like totally didn't have to, but he's been so awesome and just like thanking everyone. And yes, I second that. Thank you, everyone who's watching this and supporting the stream. And he's telling everyone, follow Josie if you haven't. You're awesome, Boombox Head. And like I said, this stream seriously wouldn't have been possible without him because he helped me set it all up. So thank you. Okay, let's do rapid fire questions. Some are NFT related and some totally aren't. They're
Okay.
just kind of fun. Okay, ready?
Yep.
Bitcoin or Ethereum?
Ethereum.
I'm surprised. Okay. Sorry, that one caught you. Go back 1 year or forward 1 year?
Moving forward always.
Last NFT or physical art piece you bought?
That would be this or Buzz Lightning. Pieces of art on super rare.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Morning person or night owl?
Morning.
I knew that about you. Cats or dogs?
Yeah. Dogs.
DCL, CV, or Somnium?
Oh shit. I have to say, because I'm so impressed, Somnium.
Okay. Window or aisle seat?
Definitely window.
Oh, I'm surprised about that for you.
No,
Okay.
like pictures of the window of the beautiful sea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Someone in the past or present in crypto that you'd like to meet.
Wow, that's a lot of people. Hal Finney would
That was
definitely be
my number
something
one.
that was possible. Yeah, that's a really shame that no one will ever get to. Well, I won't be able to. Um, I don't know. Do you know what would make me happy? Ross. If I can meet Ross in person, that would definitely be after Hal. So
Awesome.
don't be guaranteed, but then that would compromise the whole thing. So let's just leave that.
Okay. Favorite food?
Pasta.
Love that. Texting or calling? Wait, you cut out. What'd you say?
Texting for sure.
Oh, okay. Would you want to live forever?
No,
Describe the NFT space in 3 words.
it's the future.
Oh, nice. I love that. Not even 3 adjectives, just that little sentence. That was that was awesome. Cool. Some people are asking if there's an after party. Not one that I know of. If you guys want to jump in somewhere, let me know. Steve will be going to bed since he's a morning person. Um,
Yeah.
and then yeah. Oh yeah. Digitable said after party is at the Digitable DCL building. Yeah. Post a link there for everyone to go to. But this was awesome, Steve. If you want to say anything else, feel free. If not, this was such an amazing stream, and thank you for being my first guest. I
Oh,
couldn't
I'm
have picked a
so
better
honored.
one.
No, I'm so honored. And do you know what? I bought an iPad Pro. Tried to do some digital art over the last couple of weeks, and
Yeah.
to all artists there, I give you a huge fucking round of applause. It is not easy. And all the programs and everything, like the stuff that you create blows my mind. And as a creator, just I don't know, I appreciate it more than I know you guys love your art. But people like me, like this, I don't know, it means something, like the tangible thing can't really give you. And
Yeah,
it's a very strange thing. So yes, it speaks to you.
that's really, really awesome of you. You should have your kids make some art. That'd be awesome for them.
You know what? My daughter's definitely trying. My daughter's building in so many right now for us.
Oh, that's
She's 10,
sweet.
so anyway, build that. Totally. And yeah, she's if anyone's going to be an artist, it would definitely be her. So
That's so
I'm
awesome.
trying to do it. When I show her, she's getting when I get your piece framed, you know, it's a piece when I get it framed, it's going in her room because
Oh,
my son
sweet.
is tuned in, so they each have my two favorite pieces from you in their room. So
That's so awesome. And with that in mind, I think it's really cool to have kids how you have immersed your kids kind of in like VR in this awesome space. And also I think I haven't used mine yet, but I really want to. There's an artist Joy who did a live stream with his
yes,
headset.
Joy's doing really cool stuff going on.
Yeah, with his headset, and he was telling me that I have a link for my Oculus that I can connect my link to my PC and do like 3D live art in virtual. So like 3D, like build it all in virtual, and I could live stream it if I wanted, which was really cool. And if I get all of that set up and figured out, I'll share you the process because it would be
100%. All
awesome
of
for
us
your
watch.
daughter to do something
Completely.
cool like
Oh, you'll
that.
blow her mind. Yeah, I'd like that.
But yeah, cool. All right, sweet Steve. Thank you so much for coming on. This was awesome. Thank
100%.
you, everyone, for. I heard so many. I'm sorry I couldn't see the subscribers' names that were coming in because I had kind of a wonky setup today. But I heard so many subscription like dinging in my ear and or following. I'm new to Twitch, so forgive my poor lingo. And this was so awesome. Thank you all for following. Thank you for talking in the chat. This was really fun. I have another one tomorrow night with a lot of money, who he is in France, so his show is gonna be a little bit earlier than it was tonight. But if you guys have any feedback, feel free and shoot me messages on Decentraland or not Decentraland Discord. Shoot me messages on Discord or Twitter if you have any feedback. If you like to see this at a different time, and please definitely follow Steve on Twitter, which your handle is Crypto
Just a dude,
Steve
yeah,
Wand.
Crypto Steve Wand or just a dude in his flag.
Yeah, which I love your flag pictures everywhere. Those are so awesome.
Yes, he's a lot of money. His skateboard, the burning Fiat digital Bitcoin skateboard, is one of my favorite people. I absolutely love that.
That's so awesome. I'll
Yeah,
let him know you
I'm
said
very
that.
honored to be on prior to him.
That's so cool. All right, well, thank you so much, Steve.
Yes,
Thank
cheers.
you everyone for streaming in. All right,
Thank you.
bye.
Enjoy your night.